If Republicans are so smart, then why do the Republicans need the Democrats to pay their bills for them? The red states are running at a loss. Every single state is actually running in the red. They don't make enough money to actually stay afloat and operate separately from the federal government. The federal government then has to use federal funds to actually subsidize and keep the Republican states afloat, which is irony because a lot of people were talking about Canada needing subsidiaries from United States, but it was the Republicans, the red states, that are actually taking the most money from the federal government to stay afloat because they're not profitable. And where is the federal government getting the money to actually feed into the red states? That's right, they're getting it from the blue states because the blue states not only generate enough money to be self-sufficient, but they make enough money to actually add to the federal government's budget and be able to help sprinkle it along. So Republicans, although you don't like socialism and you hate the fact of universal health care, the irony of it is you are taking more subsidiaries from the blue states than you actually want to admit. And I'm just wondering, why is it that if you're so smart and the Democrats are so libertarian, stupid, why is it that the Democrats are the ones actually paying your bills for you and you're just standing there with your hands in your pockets? Repost this, share it, leave a comment. If Republicans are so smart, why are Democrats having to bail them out? Why is it the Democrat blue states are actually running at a profit and actually contributing into the federal government while red states are actually bankrupt and need the blue states to actually fund their social services? So to put it shortly, if the Republicans weren't here, we wouldn't have the tangerine twat waffle in the Oval Office. But if the Democrats weren't here, well, the Republicans wouldn't have any money for electricity or social services. And
thank you. This is what I'm talking about, people. We have got to stop thinking of ourselves right now as Republicans or Democrats and think of ourselves as Americans, because our house is burning down and we have to come together to stop the takeover of our country. We'll still have our differences like family. We're still going to have our disputes. We're not going to agree on policy. We're going to argue about other things, and that's okay. But we all have to come together if we're going to have the right to do those things in the future. If we want to still have debate, if we want to still be able to argue and have free and fair elections. Right now, set the titles aside, man. Set aside Republican and Democrat or whatever, and remember that we are Americans. I know MAGA's not with us, but there are Republicans out there who see what's going on, and they will join the rest of us. I don't know what I am. I was a Republican forever. I don't know what I am now, but I know I'm an American. I know I'm an American, and I can't sit silently by while anyone from any party tries to take democracy away from us. Let's remember who we are. We are one family. We are Americans. Let's put the fire out that's threatening to burn down our house, and then we'll get back to our other squabbles of trying to figure out the rest. But you know what? I think if we can come together for this, we'll find that we have more in common than we have that separates us. I think if we can come together to fight for our country, it will remind us what's really important, and we will be able to work out the other issues. I just know it. Go love your neighbor.
I don't think Democrats fully understand how much Republicans think we're evil, and especially our elected officials. I mean, depths of hell, unspeakable things to children, evil. And that's this whole Epstein thing, because I had a friend reach out to me and she was like, I don't get it. Like this Epstein list thing, I don't get why that's what's peeling off support, because Trump once promised $5,000 to every person in America, and he didn't deliver on that, and he didn't lose support there. And I have a million other examples, and I was like, oh girl, this is bigger than $5,000. This is their whole core values. And not only that there was evidence of it, okay? That there is this evidence of prominent Democrats doing unspeakable things to children and all of these things. And so when Trump said, JK, that's like not even a thing. Don't even worry about it. Why are we even talking about it? It like crumbled their whole ideology, because they were foaming at the mouth to frog march these prominent Democrats through the streets, watch them get in front of the world to see. And now that's not going to happen. And they're pissed. You see, 10 years has gone by since then, right? Since Trump came into power. People have lost relationships with their family, friends, and neighbors. They've even lost their jobs, okay, for this man, Trump. all because he knew the real truth, and the real truth was, you know, that Democrats were evil, part of a cabal, and there was all this evidence of it. And then they get to the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, and he's basically like, nah, doesn't exist. Like, I'd be pissed too. So no, this is bigger than $5,000. This is their whole thing. They think Democrats are the evilest people in the world. And if that isn't true, if there's no evidence of it, what else is he lying about?
I just keep thinking about this big, beautiful bill that Trump is getting passed or working on getting passed. And I'm unsure if it's passed or not, because anyways, I was watching when it was passed through the Senate, I believe. Anyways, I'm kind of confused on all that because it said it had to go back to the Senate and they were debating it and all this stuff. 3 Republicans voted against it. Of course, all the Democrats voted against it. But my thought on this in question is, if it's my mind just can't wrap around it. The one thing, like no tax on tips or overtime, like that's where you make all your money, and that's where they take all of your money. So to me, why would they not be for that? Why would the Democrats and the 3 Republicans that voted not for it? Why? To me, it shows that they are not for the American people. Obviously, there's not anything in the bill that benefits them, how all of these other bills when Biden was in office. I mean, every little thing, they were just sucking us dry. And they do not want us to keep our money, and I would like to know why. To me, any American, I don't care, Republican or Democrat, you should not be okay with that. I mean, it is, I can't even talk because I just don't understand it. I'm so unsure of why anybody in this country wouldn't want this for everyone. I mean, obviously, probably the people that don't work, they don't give two shits whether it passes or not. But the people who do work, and the people who do work a lot of overtime, this would help them so much rather than the government taking just about all of their money when they work overtime. I don't know. Just my thoughts, and what are your thoughts? Curious to know.
There's a persistent myth that we have to just dispel once and for all, that Republicans are better for the economy than Democrats. Since World War II, Democrats are better for the economy no matter how you measure it, on literally every metric, whether that's GDP growth, stock market returns, job creation, personal income growth, corporate profits, or unemployment. Democrats do better than Republicans since World War II. Even looking at budget deficits, Democrats do better than Republicans. 10 of the last 11 recessions all happened under Republican administrations, and every time we have had Republicans in control of the presidency, the House, and the Senate, a recession followed. But this myth persists, and I think there are 2 reasons for that. Number 1 is that Republicans lie. They just lie and say they're better for the economy, and they keep lying, and the more you lie, people begin to actually believe this nonsense. And 2, it's because the number 1 policy proposal Republicans have is decreasing taxes, and people think that's a good idea because not having to pay more in taxes sounds like a good thing for the economy. But that doesn't work, partially because all those tax breaks go to the highest wage earners who already cannot contribute all of the wealth that they have back into the economy. They take that money out of the economy instead of circulating it, like what happens when you give tax breaks to poorer individuals. And the second problem is these same people will tell you we have to treat this country like a business. Okay, well, how do you make more in a business? You invest into it. And the more you invest into a company, the more you get out of it. When you don't invest in your country, the less you get out of it, the less you get in your economy. So no, Republicans are not better for the economy than Democrats by any way you measure it. If you hear someone spout this nonsense, remind them that it is false. And pick any measure they want, it is still false.
A lot to say about this Wired article by Taylor Lorenz about, so-called Democrat influencers getting up to $8,000 a month and being a part of some group chat. This is kind of setting off a Democrat civil war, and I just think the discourse around this on the left is so strange. It's weird because it's being pitched as either the most evil thing that is keeping the Democrats back or the only thing that will propel them forward. Neither is the case. First of all, for the far lefties who are saying that this is what is keeping the Democrats back, because I think that comes from them saying, like, some of these more centrist moderates, like, I don't know, I can't stand any of the people that I guess are being paid for them. I can't stand that Suzanne woman. I cannot stand Aaron Parnas, but like, and I would not call them centrist, okay? but they don't focus on the, the mono protests that the far left does. I think right now the big thing that the really far left is like really zeroed in on is Gaza. And they're like, well, why aren't these so-called centrists talking about Gaza as much? It must be because a dark money group is paying them. Like, to those far lefties, that's probably not the reason people aren't talking about it as much. The reason nobody's talking about it as much is because it's not the biggest deal in a lot of people's lives. Far lefties care about things that like 5% of the country cares about. And those are like their main issues. So while there's a lot of energy in those spaces where the 5% are very active, I don't think that people that are in this article are not talking about that as much because they're being paid not to. And if you really want to go there, I mean, they all started talking about it 2 weeks ago, the Pod Save America guys. I mean, some memo went out like, actually talk about this now. But in all likelihood, the reason people aren't talking about, whatever the far left cares about as much is because they're consistently on the 20% side of 80-20 issues. I don't know, it's not like Aaron Parnas or any of these people are struggling for views, you know what I mean? But then with the Democrat centrist response to them, where they're saying, this article is completely fabricated, it's not true. If you are upset about this article in any type of way, or that the fact that this is happening, this is the only way we can combat the right, because the right have created this massive media empire, and they're being paid by billionaires, so who cares if we get paid by billionaires too? If that's what these people really believe has propelled the right-wing media ecosystem to where it is, yeah, this is not going to be a way that you can win. There's a very big difference between like being built from the bottom up rather than like top down. I think that this really goes to explain like just how left-wing people versus right-wing people view the world. Like, I see it, it's a similar thing for like their disdain for CEOs. Like, a lot of people like intrinsically on the left really believe that like anybody can be a CEO, or anybody could do the job of a CEO moreover, but only certain types of people are given the jobs of CEOs because of privilege or something. It's not fair for a CEO to make more money because, privilege plays kingmaker for a job that anybody can do. And the same is true for massive media figures. That is so far from the truth though. I guess it's kind of been like true for centrist Democrats, because centrist Democrats have had such media capture with legacy media for so long, like the New York Times, the Atlantic, the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, like all of those have promoted the mainstream Democrat narrative for so long and have been so hostile towards both the far left and the right in general. But after a while, and those environments were too hostile towards normal voices on the right or far left people, both sides kind of created their own ecosystem to share their ideas freely. The right has a massive one. I mean, this kind of started with Rush Limbaugh and the Drudge Report, but now it's like the whole podcast media ecosystem, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, the Daily Wire, like all of and they built from the bottom up. And the far left has done this too with like the Young Turks. And all of those names that I just mentioned, no matter how you feel about them, they have legitimate business models where they built an audience themselves, saying their own ideas, being authentic, showing up all of the time, having fresh, unique takes, being talented on camera, being the place that a lot of people want to go every day for political education or news or takes or whatever. And now they make a ton of money and have a ton of influence, not because a billionaire like picked them and said, here's a bunch of money, go out and do whatever you want to do, but because companies are buying access to the massive audiences that they've built. That's kind of what I think this group is doing. Like, I'm seeing it spoken about both from the people accused of being a part of this group making $8,000 a month, but also the people just not a part of it and defending it, is they're like, well, we have to compete. And it's like, the reason you can't compete is not because billionaires aren't paying people to do this on your side. The reason you can't compete is because you don't have fresh ideas that people want to hear from anymore. All you guys do is blame the right and far left for everything. And then when you're in office, you don't do anything. Then you act like you have no agency to change that. Like, it's wild. Like, I can't stand that Aaron Parnas guy, and all he does is manipulate headlines to fearmonger, basically. How long do people want to listen to fearmongering headlines when nothing is done about it? Like, that legacy media did that forever. They fearmongered about abortion forever. Roe's overturned. Democrats still don't codify Roe, but most women in the country have access to abortion either in their state or they can just go to a state with abortion access. And the Aaron Parnas types want to fearmonger the same fucking talking points. Like, it's exhausting at a point. That's the problem they have to solve, not whether or not it's right or okay to take $8,000 a month. And like, I don't know, massive right-wing networks like the Daily Wire and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, I promise you they're bringing in a lot more than $8,000 a month. And they're probably not bringing it in from random billionaires saying, hey, please back what I want you to talk about. Like, they're talking about things that people want to hear about. I don't know. Like, that's why you see, like, Megyn Kelly, I can't stand that she does this, and Candace Owens, like, talking about the Baldoni, Blake Lively thing all of the time. It's because people want to tune in and listen to that. I don't care. It's why so many conservatives talk about Taylor Swift anymore, or all the time. Like, people care about her. I can't stand it, but people want to hear about it. And like, the point I'm taking a long time to make here is, like, if Democrats really think that they can get a bunch of billionaires to pay some kids $8,000 a month to just continually shit on Republicans and justify Democrat inaction, yeah, they're not. Nothing is going to come of that.